Have you ever felt like your emotions were running your life, rather than the other way around? Like an invisible force pulling the strings behind your thoughts, actions, and reactions? Imagine waking up in the morning, ready to take on the day, but within minutes, a single email, an offhand comment, or even your own self-doubt sends you spiraling into frustration or anxiety. This is the emotional roller coaster many of us live on, where our moods dictate our outcomes, rather than us controlling our moods. But what if you could break free? What if you could train yourself to master your emotions instead of being their prisoner? This is exactly what Master Your Emotions by Thibaut Muris aims to teach. It's not about suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist, but rather understanding them, learning where they come from, and developing the skills to navigate them effectively. Muris offers a blueprint for emotional mastery, drawing from psychology, neuroscience, and personal development techniques to help you take control of your inner world. In today's hyperconnected world, we are more emotionally reactive than ever before. We're bombarded with stress-inducing news, social media comparisons, and the constant pressure to do more, be more, and achieve more. Many of us have become trapped in a cycle of emotional highs and lows, feeling at the mercy of our circumstances. But the truth is, our emotions don't control us, we control them. And once we recognize this, we can completely shift the way we experience life. Thibaut Muris, a best-selling author with a passion for self-improvement and mental mastery, has written several books, including Master Your Focus, Dopamine Detox, and The Art of Self-Discipline. Released in 2018, Master Your Emotions quickly became a go-to resource for individuals looking to gain control over their feelings and develop emotional intelligence. Muris's writing is direct, practical, and deeply rooted in scientific research. He distills complex psychological concepts into easy-to-understand principles that anyone can apply. Whether you're struggling with anxiety, frustration, self-doubt, or simply want to improve your emotional stability, his work provides actionable steps to help you build lasting emotional strength. At its core, Master Your Emotions is about breaking free from negative emotional cycles and building a healthier, more positive mindset. It helps readers understand where emotions come from and why we react the way we do, identify emotional triggers, reframe negative emotions into opportunities for growth, and develop habits that foster emotional stability and resilience. The book is structured into 4 key parts, each focusing on a different aspect of emotional mastery. It starts by helping us understand what emotions are and how they shape our lives. Then, it dives into the factors that influence our emotional state, our thoughts, habits, and surroundings. From there, it teaches us how to rewire our mindset to cultivate more positive emotions and finally, how to use emotions as a tool for personal growth and success. We live in an age of emotional overload. From social media to constant notifications, we are constantly exposed to triggers that pull us in different emotional directions. It's easy to get caught in a loop of anxiety, comparison, and self-doubt. Master Your Emotions is a timely guide for anyone looking to reclaim their inner peace in the midst of this chaos. Imagine being able to face life's challenges without feeling overwhelmed. Imagine handling criticism, setbacks, and stressful situations with a sense of calm and control. Imagine waking up every day knowing that no matter what happens, you have the power to regulate your emotions and create the life you want. That's what this book offers, a way to break free from emotional reactivity and build a life of balance, resilience, and happiness. As we go through this audiobook summary, we will explore the most powerful lessons from Master Your Emotions and how they apply to your everyday life. By the end, you'll have the tools you need to take charge of your emotional world and unlock a new level of personal freedom. Are you ready to master your emotions? Let's dive in. This book has 4 parts. Let's begin with first 1, Understanding Emotions. I created this part 1 in 4 chapters to better understanding. So let's start with chapter 1. Why you feel the way you do. Have you ever had one of those days where everything seems fine, yet you feel a heavy cloud lingering over your emotions? Maybe you wake up feeling irritable, anxious, or unmotivated for no clear reason. Or perhaps something minor, a careless comment from a friend, a delayed email, A stranger's indifferent glance triggers an emotional reaction that feels disproportionate. Why does this happen? Why do emotions fluctuate so much, often without us realizing why? The answer lies in the complex interplay of biology, thought patterns, and environment. Our emotions are not random. They are a response to the conditions we live in, the beliefs we hold, and the chemistry of our brains. Understanding why we feel the way we do is the first step toward mastering our emotions. If we don't, we risk being at the mercy of our moods, controlled by forces we don't understand. Our bodies and emotions are deeply connected. Poor sleep, a diet lacking essential nutrients, dehydration, or even an overconsumption of caffeine can contribute to anxiety and mood swings. Have you ever noticed how a bad night's sleep makes you more irritable the next day? That's because when you're sleep deprived, your brain's emotional center, the amygdala, becomes more reactive, making you more sensitive to stress. At the same time, the part of your brain responsible for rational thinking, the prefrontal cortex, is impaired, making emotional regulation more difficult. Similarly, when we don't get enough sunlight, our serotonin levels drop, increasing the likelihood of depression. This is why people often experience seasonal affective disorder, SAD, during colder months with less sunlight. On the other hand, physical activity releases endorphins, natural mood boosters that make us feel happier and more resilient. Our emotions are, to a large extent, a reflection of our body's state. Many people believe that external events determine how they feel. I'm stressed because my boss gave me too much work. I'm sad because my partner ignored me. But the truth is, events alone don't create emotions, our interpretation of those events does. Imagine two people receiving constructive criticism at work. One might take it personally, seeing it as an attack on their abilities, and feel discouraged. Another might see it as an opportunity to improve and feel motivated. The same event triggers two entirely different emotional responses because of the internal narrative attached to it. These narratives are often shaped by past experiences. If someone grew up with overly critical parents, they might interpret all feedback as rejection. If another person was encouraged to see challenges as growth opportunities, they might react to the same feedback with enthusiasm. Our past influences our present, but the good news is that we can rewire our thinking patterns. Our surroundings, including the people we interact with and the content we consume, shape our emotional state more than we realize. Imagine being in a cluttered, noisy, chaotic home versus a clean, organized, peaceful space. One fosters stress, the other fosters calmness. Likewise, being around negative, toxic people drains emotional energy, while surrounding yourself with positive, supportive individuals uplifts you. Even our digital environment impacts our emotions. Doom scrolling through negative news or comparing ourselves to others on social media creates feelings of anxiety and inadequacy. But curating our feed to include educational content, uplifting messages, and inspiring stories can have the opposite effect. We often underestimate how much our environment influences our emotions, but by shaping it intentionally, we can set ourselves up for emotional well-being. Next is Chapter 2, How Emotions Are Created. If emotions don't come directly from external events, where do they come from? They come from perception. Every emotion you experience is a response not to what happens, but to what you believe about what happens. Let's take a common example. You text a friend, and they don't respond for hours. Your mind instantly starts filling in the blanks. If you assume they are ignoring you, you feel hurt or angry. If you assume they are just busy, you don't feel anything negative. The event, the unanswered text, is neutral. Your interpretation is what generates your emotional response. This pattern plays out everywhere. Imagine two people applying for the same job. Both get rejected. One tells themselves, "I'm not good enough. I'll never get hired anywhere." They feel hopeless and give up. The other thinks, "This wasn't the right fit for me. I'll find a better opportunity." They remain optimistic and keep trying. The difference isn't in what happened, but in how they framed what happened. Understanding this is powerful. It means you can change your emotions by changing your perspective. Instead of accepting negative interpretations as truth, you can reframe situations in a way that empowers you. This isn't about denying reality, but about choosing the most useful perspective. Our brains are wired to detect threats. This is an evolutionary survival mechanism. But in today's world, where most threats are psychological rather than physical, this mechanism can work against us. We often perceive minor inconveniences or criticisms as major threats, triggering emotional responses that are out of proportion. Recognizing when your brain is overreacting is the first step in regaining control over your emotions. One way to do this is to practice cognitive distancing, reminding yourself that just because you feel something doesn't mean it's true. For example, feeling like you're failing doesn't mean you actually are. Questioning your emotions instead of immediately believing them can drastically change your emotional experience. Another technique is reframing. If something goes wrong, instead of dwelling on the negative, ask yourself, "What's the lesson here?" Or, "How can I grow from this?" This simple shift in thinking can turn setbacks into opportunities for emotional resilience. Next is Chapter 3, the link between your emotions and your needs. Emotions are not just fleeting sensations that come and go without reason. They are messages, signals that point to deeper, underlying needs. Every emotion you experience is trying to tell you something about what is missing or what is fulfilled in your life. Understanding this can completely change the way you handle your emotions. Instead of feeling trapped by sadness, anger, or frustration, you can learn to decode what your emotions are telling you and use that knowledge to bring positive change into your life. Imagine feeling a deep sense of frustration after a long day at work. On the surface, it may seem like just another bad day. But if you dig deeper, you might realize that the frustration stems from a lack of recognition or significance in your job. Your mind and body are telling you that you need to feel valued, that your contributions matter. Or perhaps you often feel restless and unmotivated. This could be your need for growth and variety signaling that your daily routine has become stagnant and uninspiring. When you see emotions as a guide rather than a burden, you can take action to fulfill these unmet needs rather than being controlled by your emotional reactions. To master your emotions, you must learn to meet your needs in a constructive way. If you crave significance, instead of seeking external validation through unhealthy means, like constantly comparing yourself to others on social media, you can find purpose by contributing something meaningful, whether through work, volunteering, or creative expression. If you lack love and connection, you can proactively nurture your relationships, reach out to friends, or even practice self-love. Many people try to numb negative emotions with distractions like food, entertainment, or social media, but these are only temporary fixes. True emotional mastery comes when you address the core issue, what your emotions are telling you, and find lasting, fulfilling ways to meet your needs. Mastering this concept helps you move from being reactive to proactive. Instead of being at the mercy of your emotions, you become someone who understands and works with them. You stop seeing your emotions as the enemy and start seeing them as a roadmap guiding you toward a more fulfilling and balanced life. Chapter 4 is the role of your environment. Your emotions are deeply influenced by your environment, whether you realize it or not. The space you live in, the people you surround yourself with, the media you consume. All of these shape your emotional state in profound ways. If you feel anxious, stressed, or drained, take a moment to examine what you are exposing yourself to daily. Are you surrounded by negativity, chaos, or distractions? Or do you cultivate an environment that supports peace, growth, and emotional well-being? Your physical space plays a more significant role in your emotions than you might think. A cluttered and disorganized environment can create a sense of overwhelm, making it difficult to focus and feel at ease. On the other hand, a clean and orderly space promotes clarity and calmness. Simple changes, like letting in more natural light, organizing your surroundings, or adding elements of nature such as plants, can have a surprisingly positive effect on your mood and mindset. Beyond the physical environment, the people you surround yourself with have an even greater impact on your emotional state. Have you ever noticed how spending time with certain people leaves you feeling drained, while others uplift and inspire you? The energy and attitudes of those around you are contagious. If you constantly expose yourself to negative, critical, or toxic individuals, your emotions will reflect that. But when you engage with people who support, challenge, and encourage you, your mindset and emotions will shift toward growth and positivity. In today's digital age, your mental environment extends beyond the physical world. The content you consume on social media, news outlets, and entertainment platforms has a direct impact on your emotions. If you constantly scroll through negative news or compare yourself to unrealistic portrayals of success and happiness, it will distort your perception of reality and leave you feeling inadequate. However, if you intentionally curate what you expose yourself to, by following uplifting, educational, and empowering content, you will create a mental environment that fosters confidence and emotional stability. Recognizing the power of your environment is a game changer. It shifts emotional control back into your hands. Instead of feeling like a victim of external circumstances, you realize that you have the ability to design an environment that supports your emotional well-being. You can choose who to spend time with, what media to consume, and how to structure your surroundings. These choices, small as they may seem, shape your emotions every single day. When you consciously create an environment that aligns with your emotional goals, you naturally begin to experience more balance, happiness, and control over your inner world. Because emotions are not just about what happens inside you, they are deeply connected to what surrounds you. Change your environment, and you will change your emotions. Mastering emotions isn't about suppressing them. It's about understanding why they arise, questioning the stories you tell yourself, fulfilling your needs, and shaping your environment intentionally. When you do this, emotions stop controlling you, you start controlling them. Let's move on to Part 2, Transforming Your Emotions. Chapter 5, Rewiring Your Mind for Emotional Control. Your emotions are not fixed, they are shaped by your thoughts, beliefs, and interpretations of the world around you. The way you perceive a situation directly determines how you feel about it. This means that if you can change the way you think, you can change the way you feel. Emotional control is not about suppressing or ignoring your emotions, it's about rewiring your mind to respond to life in a healthier and more constructive way. Your brain operates based on neural pathways, connections that determine how you automatically respond to certain events. If you've spent years reacting to stress with anxiety, criticism with anger, or setbacks with frustration, your brain has created strong pathways that reinforce these emotional reactions. But just as habits can be broken, so can these emotional patterns. The key lies in conscious awareness and intentional practice. When you catch yourself reacting emotionally, pause and ask, is this the most useful way to respond? Instead of blindly following old patterns, challenge your thoughts. Is there another way to interpret this situation? Is this reaction helping or hurting you? By consistently questioning your emotional responses, you weaken old patterns and create new, more empowering ones. One of the most effective ways to rewire your emotional responses is through mindfulness and self-reflection. When you observe your emotions without immediately reacting to them, you create space for rational thinking. Instead of being controlled by anger, fear, or sadness, you can step back and analyze the cause of these emotions. Over time, this practice strengthens your ability to regulate emotions rather than be overwhelmed by them. Another powerful technique is positive visualization. The brain struggles to distinguish between imagined and real experiences, so by mentally rehearsing positive emotional responses, you strengthen those neural pathways. If you tend to get anxious before public speaking, visualize yourself speaking confidently, handling pressure with ease. If you struggle with self-doubt, imagine yourself succeeding and embracing challenges with courage. The more you practice these mental exercises, the more natural these emotions will become in real situations. Additionally, reframing situations can have a significant impact on emotional control. Instead of seeing challenges as obstacles, view them as opportunities for growth. If something doesn't go as planned, rather than seeing it as failure, consider it a lesson that will make you stronger in the future. By adopting a mindset of curiosity instead of judgment, you can turn emotional distress into a source of learning and empowerment. Rewiring your mind is a process, but every conscious effort moves you toward emotional mastery. With time, you will find yourself reacting less impulsively, interpreting situations more constructively, and feeling more in control of your emotions than ever before. Next is Chapter 6, The Power of Acceptance and Letting Go. A major source of emotional suffering comes from resistance, resisting reality, resisting change, and resisting emotions themselves. The more you fight against what is, the more pain you create for yourself. True emotional freedom comes not from controlling everything but from learning to accept and let go. Many people believe that accepting something means agreeing with it or giving up. But acceptance is not about resignation, it's about recognizing reality as it is so that you can respond to it effectively. When you accept a negative situation, you stop wasting energy resisting it and instead focus on what you can control. If you lose a job, resisting reality by dwelling on, "This shouldn't have happened," keeps you stuck. Acceptance, on the other hand, shifts your focus to, "What can I do next?" allowing you to move forward with clarity and strength. Letting go is another essential skill for emotional well-being. Holding on to past hurts, regrets, or grudges only chains you to negative emotions. If someone wronged you, replaying the event in your mind doesn't punish them, it punishes you. The only way to truly free yourself from pain is to let it go. Forgiveness is not about justifying someone's actions, it's about choosing peace over resentment. Similarly, letting go of unrealistic expectations allows you to embrace life as it is rather than how you think it should be. The key to acceptance and letting go is trust, trusting that life will unfold as it needs to, trusting yourself to handle whatever comes your way. When you embrace this mindset, you stop clinging to the past or fearing the future. Instead, you become fully present, making the most of each moment without unnecessary emotional baggage. Letting go also means releasing control over things that are not yours to manage. We often waste emotional energy trying to control how others perceive us, how situations will unfold, or what people think. But the reality is, you can't control everything, and trying to do so only creates frustration. The moment you realize that your responsibility lies in your own reactions, actions, and mindset, not in controlling external factors, you unlock a new level of emotional freedom. When you master the art of letting go, you create space for peace, clarity, and joy. Life becomes less about resistance and more about flow. Next is Chapter 7, The Role of Self-Talk in Emotional Mastery. The way you speak to yourself directly impacts your emotions. Your inner dialogue is like a constant narrator shaping your experiences. If your self-talk is negative, telling you that you're not good enough, that you always fail, or that things will never get better, you will naturally feel discouraged and powerless. But if your self-talk is constructive, reminding you of your strengths, your resilience, and your ability to improve, you will experience a sense of confidence and motivation. Self-talk often operates automatically, influenced by years of conditioning. Many people adopt critical inner voices from childhood experiences, societal pressures, or repeated failures. However, just like any habit, negative self-talk can be changed with conscious effort. The first step is awareness. Pay attention to how you speak to yourself, especially in difficult moments. Are you being supportive or self-sabotaging? Would you speak to a friend the way you speak to yourself? If not, it's time to change the dialogue. Once you identify negative self-talk, challenge and replace it. If you catch yourself thinking, "I always mess things up," replace it with, "I make mistakes like everyone else, but I learn and improve." If you think, "I'm not good enough," shift it to, "I am capable, and I can grow with effort." These small changes may seem insignificant, but they rewire your brain over time. The more you practice self-compassion and positive reinforcement, the more natural and empowering your inner voice will become. Beyond self-talk, how you label emotions also affects how you experience them. If you tell yourself, "I'm devastated," you reinforce a sense of hopelessness. But if you say, "I'm feeling challenged but I can handle this," you maintain a sense of control. Language shapes perception, and perception shapes emotions. By consciously choosing empowering words, you shift the way you experience life's difficulties. Changing your self-talk is not about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It's about building a mindset that supports growth rather than self-destruction. When you become your own encourager rather than your own worst critic, emotional mastery becomes much easier. The more you strengthen your inner dialogue, the more you shift your entire emotional experience. Your mind is the most powerful tool you have. Use it to build yourself up, not tear yourself down. Mastering your emotions is a journey, not a destination. The more you train your mind to challenge limiting beliefs, accept reality, let go of what no longer serves you, and cultivate a positive inner dialogue, the stronger and more resilient you become. Your emotions are powerful, but you are even more powerful. The more you understand and work with them, the more you unlock your full potential. Let's move on to Part 3, Emotional Resilience and Growth. Chapter 8, Building Emotional Resilience. Life is unpredictable. Challenges, setbacks, and disappointments are inevitable, but your ability to bounce back from adversity determines the quality of your life. This is where emotional resilience comes in. It's the ability to withstand difficulties, adapt to change, and emerge stronger from life's hardships. Without resilience, setbacks can feel like permanent defeats. But with it, every challenge becomes an opportunity for growth. Resilience starts with perspective. When faced with difficulty, how do you interpret it? Do you see it as an unfair burden, or do you view it as a chance to develop inner strength? Your mindset plays a crucial role in how you navigate adversity. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" resilient individuals ask, "What can I learn from this?" Shifting your perspective from victimhood to empowerment is the foundation of resilience. One of the most effective ways to strengthen resilience is by cultivating self-awareness. Understand what triggers your stress, fear, or sadness. When you know your emotional patterns, you can manage them instead of letting them control you. Self-awareness allows you to regulate your emotions before they escalate, making it easier to handle tough situations with composure. Additionally, resilience requires emotional flexibility. Rigid thinking, believing that things must go a certain way, sets you up for disappointment. The more adaptable you are, the less likely you are to break under pressure. Instead of resisting change, embrace it. Life is constantly evolving, and the more you align yourself with this reality, the more resilient you become. Another crucial aspect of resilience is self-care. A strong mind requires a strong body. Regular exercise, sufficient sleep, and a healthy diet contribute significantly to emotional stability. When you are physically well, you are better equipped to handle stress and recover from emotional setbacks. Moreover, engaging in activities that bring joy, whether it's music, nature, or time with loved ones, helps replenish your emotional reserves, making you more resilient in the face of hardship. Finally, resilience is deeply tied to meaning and purpose. People who have a strong sense of purpose are less likely to be overwhelmed by life's difficulties. When you connect with something greater than yourself, a personal mission, helping others, or spiritual beliefs, you gain the strength to endure tough times with a sense of meaning. Purpose fuels resilience, giving you the motivation to keep moving forward despite obstacles. Resilience isn't about avoiding difficulties, it's about meeting them with strength, adaptability, and courage. Every challenge you overcome makes you stronger, reinforcing your ability to face whatever life throws your way. Next is Chapter 9, The Art of Managing Stress and Anxiety. Stress and anxiety are a natural part of life, but they don't have to dominate your emotional state. Learning to manage them effectively allows you to maintain a sense of calm and clarity, even in the face of pressure. The key to overcoming stress is not eliminating it but developing strategies to handle it in a way that minimizes its impact on your well-being. One of the most effective ways to manage stress is through breathing techniques and mindfulness. When stress levels rise, the body reacts with a fight-or-flight response, releasing stress hormones like cortisol. This can make you feel tense, overwhelmed, or even panicked. But deep, controlled breathing activates the body's relaxation response, signaling to your nervous system that it's safe to calm down. Taking slow, deep breaths for just a few minutes can significantly reduce stress and restore a sense of balance. Mindfulness, Being fully present in the moment also helps to reduce anxiety. When you focus on the here and now, rather than worrying about the future or dwelling on the past, your mind finds a place of peace. Simple mindfulness practices, like paying attention to your surroundings, engaging in deep breathing, or practicing gratitude, can break the cycle of anxious overthinking. Another powerful tool in stress management is reframing problems. When faced with a stressful situation, instead of seeing it as overwhelming, ask yourself, is this problem as bad as my mind is making it out to be? Will it matter a year from now? Often, stress arises not from the situation itself but from the way we perceive it. By shifting your mindset, you can reduce the emotional weight of stressors and approach them with a calmer attitude. Additionally, stress and anxiety thrive in isolation. Seeking support from friends, family, or mentors provides emotional relief and a new perspective on your problems. Talking things out can help you process emotions and often leads to solutions you might not have seen on your own. Finally, taking action is one of the best ways to combat stress. Anxiety often stems from a feeling of helplessness, but when you take even small steps toward a solution, you regain a sense of control. Whether it's creating a to-do list, breaking a task into smaller steps, or addressing a conflict directly, action replaces anxiety with empowerment. Stress and anxiety are part of life, but they don't have to control you. With the right tools and mindset, you can navigate challenges with confidence and maintain emotional balance, even in difficult times. Next is Chapter 10, Overcoming Fear and Cultivating Courage. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions, often holding people back from pursuing their dreams, speaking their truth, or taking risks. But fear is not meant to paralyze you. It is meant to be understood and conquered. The key to overcoming fear is learning to act despite it, rather than allowing it to dictate your decisions. The first step in overcoming fear is understanding its purpose. Fear is a survival mechanism designed to protect you from danger. However, in today's world, fear often arises not from actual threats but from imagined scenarios, fear of failure, rejection, or the unknown. Recognizing that fear is often irrational allows you to challenge its hold over you. One of the best ways to confront fear is exposure. The more you avoid something out of fear, the more powerful it becomes in your mind. But when you gradually expose yourself to what you fear, you build tolerance and confidence. If you fear public speaking, start by speaking in small groups. If you fear rejection, practice putting yourself out there in low-risk situations. The more you face your fears, the weaker they become. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move forward despite it. One way to build courage is through mental rehearsal. Visualize yourself succeeding in the face of fear. See yourself confidently handling challenges. Hear yourself speaking with authority. Feel the sense of accomplishment that comes from taking bold action. This mental conditioning prepares your mind to act with confidence when fear arises. Another crucial factor in overcoming fear is self-compassion. Many people let fear stop them because they fear failure. But failure is not a reflection of worth, it is a stepping stone to growth. Instead of seeing failure as a reason to quit, view it as valuable feedback that helps you improve. Taking small, consistent steps toward courage is the key. Every time you act despite fear, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your doubts. Over time, this creates a mindset where fear no longer controls you, you control it. Fear, stress, and setbacks will always be part of life, but they don't have to define you. Emotional resilience, courage, and self-awareness are the tools that allow you to navigate life's challenges with confidence and strength. The more you practice these skills, the more unshakable you become, ready to face any obstacle with a fearless heart. Now we have reached to part 4. Mastering your emotions for a fulfilling life. This is Chapter 11, The Power of Gratitude and Positivity. Imagine waking up every morning and instead of immediately stressing over tasks, you take a moment to appreciate what you have. Gratitude has the power to reframe your entire reality. In today's world, where social media constantly reminds us of what we lack, gratitude brings us back to what is real and abundant. People who actively practice gratitude feel lighter, less stressed, and more in tune with the joys of life. It's not just a nice concept, It's a scientifically backed tool to rewire your brain. A simple way to cultivate this is to start your day by listing 3 things you're grateful for. Over time, you'll notice that your mind starts looking for the positive automatically. And let's talk about positivity. It's not about ignoring reality or pretending everything is perfect. It's about choosing to focus on the light, even in difficult times. Positivity is a muscle that needs training, and once strengthened, it becomes a natural way of thinking, helping you navigate life with resilience and hope. Next is Chapter 12, the role of forgiveness in emotional freedom. Forgiveness is often misunderstood. People think it means excusing bad behavior or allowing others to hurt them again. But true forgiveness is about freeing yourself, not the other person. Carrying anger and resentment is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to suffer. It keeps you locked in the past, replaying painful memories and reinforcing negative emotions. The first step toward forgiveness is understanding. Most people act out of their own wounds and limitations. That doesn't mean their actions were right, but recognizing this helps you let go of the weight they placed on you. And what about forgiving yourself? That's often the hardest part. We tend to be our own worst critics, replaying mistakes over and over. But personal growth requires self-compassion. Accept your past choices, learn from them, and move forward with a lighter heart. When you forgive, you take your power back. Chapter 13 is Emotional Intelligence and Self-Mastery. Emotional intelligence is your superpower. It's the ability to recognize, understand, and regulate your emotions while also being aware of how others feel. Unlike IQ, which remains relatively stable, emotional intelligence can be developed and refined. And here's why it matters. People with high emotional intelligence have better relationships, greater career success, and an overall sense of inner peace. Self-awareness is at the core of emotional intelligence. When you understand your triggers, you stop reacting impulsively and start responding thoughtfully. You recognize when emotions are clouding your judgment and learn how to regain control. Empathy is another essential component. It allows you to connect with people on a deeper level, strengthening relationships and creating trust. The final step? Self-mastery. This is when you stop being ruled by your emotions and instead use them as guides. The more control you gain over your emotions, the more control you gain over your life. Next, Chapter 14, Living a Life of Emotional Freedom. What does it mean to be emotionally free? It means that external circumstances no longer dictate your inner peace. You no longer live in constant fear, resentment, or doubt. Instead, you accept emotions as they come, process them, and move forward with clarity. This is the highest level of emotional mastery, and it is entirely possible to achieve. One way to reach this state is through detachment, not in a way that makes you cold or indifferent, but in a way that allows you to stop depending on outcomes for happiness. You stop needing validation, you stop fearing failure, and you stop clinging to control. Emotional freedom also comes from self-love. When you truly accept yourself, you become resilient, confident, and unshakable. The world may change around you, but you remain grounded. This is true liberation, the ability to navigate life's highs and lows with grace, strength, and an unshakable sense of self. So, now we have final takeaways from this book. Mastering your emotions is not about suppressing them, it's about understanding, embracing, and channeling them in a way that serves you. Your emotions are like waves. They will rise and fall, but you get to decide whether you sink or surf. Developing emotional intelligence means responding instead of reacting, cultivating gratitude to shift your perspective, and choosing forgiveness to set yourself free. It means stepping into a life where you are in control of how you feel, no longer a prisoner of circumstances or past wounds. It is a lifelong journey, but one that leads to true inner peace and fulfillment. When you master your emotions, you don't just change how you feel, you change how you live. If you found this summary insightful and valuable, don't forget to show your support by subscribing to the Mindful Brief on YouTube. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this audiobook summary, share it with your peers, friends, or family who might benefit from it, and leave a comment below with your thoughts. Your engagement helps us create more in-depth and valuable content for you. Stay tuned for more summaries, insights, and strategies to elevate your knowledge and career. Subscribe now and be part of the journey.